this is how to fill a bobbin. You'll need your spool of thread. If you use a large spool, then you need the large spool cap. If you use a small spool, then you'll need a small spool cap. So I'll use the small one, put it on my spool pin. The flat side faces the spool. Take your thread, it's gonna go around the black pin, it's gonna go around the silver pin, and then it's gonna go up into your bobbin. There's a little map right here. You can see it's a dotted line, and then there's a little picture of a bobbin here to remind you. So it goes around the black pin, make sure it gets up under there, and then around the silver pin, and you'll feel tension on this thread so you know it's really stuck in there. So from the spool, around the black pin, around the silver pin, and then you take the end of your thread and it's going to go up through the top hole in your bobbin. So on the plastic bobbins, if you turn it this way, I'm going to go through the top hole. There's usually just one hole in the top, and I'm inserting it this direction. Let's see if I can zoom in a little bit closer. It goes up through the top hole, like this. Notice I didn't go through the bottom one, just the top one, and I didn't go through the center. And then with that, in this direction, I'm gonna put it right on my bobbin winder, just like that. You'll know you have it right if the thread is coming out of the top of the bobbin, out of one hole in the top. Just take some of that slack off, like that. So again, around from the spool, around the black pin, silver pin, up through the top hole in the bobbin, and then I'm gonna click my bobbin to the left, and then my clutch knob is on the side. It's in the inside of my hand wheel. You can hear it as I, oh, it was already pulled out. As I push it in, as I pull it out, okay? Then I step on my foot control, and I stop for a second. Here's what I'm checking for. Number one, is my spool of thread unraveling? Is it still around the black pin? Is it still around the silver pin? Is it filling the bobbin? Some common mistakes is it would fill up on the top, it would fill up on the bottom, or it wouldn't fill evenly. It wouldn't go up and down, which it's supposed to do. So with this tail, I don't want to just let it go. I want to cut it off. This is very important that you cut off this tail as close to the bobbin as possible and discard this. You don't want this getting all caught up in there. And then you can continue filling your bobbin. I'll fill this one to the top. I'll show you what it looks like when it's completely filled. You notice it's going, the thread is kind of hard to see from this angle, but it's going up and down. And what happened was I ran out of thread on my spool, which is fine. This is not quite full, but it's pretty full. That's a pretty good size bobbin. So when you're starting for the first time, when we're practicing, we only fill it a little bit so you get practice, but ultimately you want to fill it all the way to the brim, and that way you'll have a full bobbin to use for your project. You could also use a metal bobbin. With the metal bobbin, when you do it, I'll do it again with a big spool cap, around the black pin, around the silver pin. Make sure it's tight. With the silver, any one of the top holes will do. So just slide it back up in there. With the metal ones, put it on your bobbin winder, click it to the right, pull out your clutch knob, press and go, stop, cut off your thread, your tail, check and make sure that it was still on the black and the silver pin, and go. And this one I'll try to fill for the top because I got a big spool of thread here. Keep an eye on it, make sure it's filling evenly. It should be going up and down, up and down, up and down. If it's staying in the same spot, something's wrong. Make sure it's still in the black pin and on the silver pin. It stopped by itself. That's how you know it's full, when it stops by itself. And then to take it off, I just cut this thread, click it back, and there's a full bobbin. So you always want to make sure you have a full bobbin when you start your project. And then you could just thread your machine like normal, go through, thread your machine, and that would be the bobbin that you would use for your project. The end.